He is the last of his kind. All that remains of a once powerful nation. Some think he is a myth who will bring balance to a world at war. And some will stop at nothing to destroy him.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Roberts.
And I'm Crystal Earl. I hope you're comfortable and you're settled into your flight as we get ready to go to sunny Dominican Republic.
Typically, we like to have an opportunity to do a face-to-face meeting and orientation with all of our Hero Holiday guests. But because this flight is arriving late this evening, we won't have that opportunity to get together with you before we set out tomorrow morning.
That's right, Charles. But the great people at Sunwing have allowed us to use their in-flight entertainment system. So we're going to take this opportunity to go through our usual orientation information now. If you have any questions, save them until tomorrow morning when the teams will be shuttled to the building site. So sit back, get comfortable, and enjoy our presentation. Take it away, Charles.
Thanks, Crystal. So again, my name is Charles, and I'm the Director of Programs at Live Different, formerly known as Absolute Leadership Development. And I'll be one of your trip hosts while you're in Dominican Republic with us this week. It is a pleasure for all of us at Live Different to partner with you this week to facilitate the construction of these 6 houses. I am a little curious. How many people on this plane have had some interaction with our organization in the last couple of years? Maybe you've been on a trip yourself. Maybe one of your children have been on one of our trips. Just slip up your hand really quick and draw as much attention to yourself as possible. I know that I can probably name off a handful of you that have been involved in some capacity or another. And I also remember, like it was yesterday, the response that your association made to our plea for support during our emergency relief efforts with the Haiti earthquake. Combined, you responded with over $10,000 in donations, which we were extremely grateful for. So when James Baisley approached us about the possibility of facilitating these house builds for you all, we were very excited to, of course, provide additional housing for families in desperate need, but also to continue building our relationship with each of you and the Ontario Home Builders Association as a whole. So for those of you who aren't familiar with our organization, which is probably most, we're a registered charity with the Government of Canada, founded in 2001. One of our co-founders, sitting right here, and we facilitate 3 programs. One is our Live Different motivational presentations. We have 2 teams that travel to high schools across Canada, presenting a message of purpose and hope and bringing a challenge to live differently. We have our Live Different Hero Holiday program, which you are about to embark on. Since 2005, we've built over 130 homes, partnered and helped construct over 8 schools, partnered with different children's homes and orphanages around the world. We work in Dominican Republic, Haiti, Mexico, and Thailand. With Hero Holiday, we have 2 very specific objectives. One is to obviously help the people in need the best that we can, and 2 is to be an educational experience for all of our participants that come down. Our 3rd program is our Live Different Academy, which is an 8-month program for post-secondary students who spend 4 months traveling around with our motivational presentation and another 4 months living at our base in Mexico, taking a social justice course, helping and working in the volunteering in the local community, and helping facilitate and lead our Hero Holiday groups that go down there. So for those of you that had no idea who we were, hope it gives you a brief understanding of who we are and where we're coming from as an organization. A normal Live Different Hero Holiday looks a little different for us, where about 80% of our participants are minors. We usually facilitate all the logistics and details from picking them up at the airport in Toronto, orientation, hotels, meals, travel, flights, you name it, right until we drop them off at the airport again to go back home to their parents. So in comparison, I think this trip is going to feel like a breeze. For example, right now, we're already at the resort, in the Dominican, by the pool, with our umbrella drinks. I say drinks, plural, patiently awaiting your arrival.
Many of you have met me before at some of the Ontario Home Builder Association functions that were leading up to today's flight and to this week's exciting project. My name is Crystal, and I'm one of the co-founders of Live Different, and I will also be hosting you while you're in the Dominican Republic. Our goal for the next few minutes is to help prepare you for what you are about to experience. We're going to cover the following areas. We're going to introduce you to some of our staff. We'd like to explain a little bit about the culture of the country and in particular the relationship between Dominicans and Haitians in the areas that we're working. We're going to be talking about a work site, what a work site looks like and what happens there, what to do with your donations and that extra goodies that you have stuffed into every possible place of your suitcase, and even about the house dedication times and what's going to happen, how to respectfully take and use photos and videos, and finally, making promises, what to do and what not to do. So first of all, our Live Different Hero Holiday staff. In brief, we will have around 10 staff and volunteers from Canada down in Dominican helping to facilitate your trip and your time here. We'll have trip hosts, transportation coordinator, children's activity coordinators, a safety coordinator, and a house build foreman. We'll also have a crew of local contractors and 1 to 2 translators at each house build. So just to mention a few people, first of all, you'll be seeing a lot of Cole Brown. He's been helping to facilitate trips with us in Haiti and the Dominican Republic for a few years now. And he's one of the ones who's been really busy working tirelessly to prepare things on the ground for you. One of our house build foremen is going to be on this flight with you right now. You can look and wave at Sam Bunting. We also have Chris Jones, who will be taking on one of the sites and who I've heard the OHBA has awarded his reputable work in the past on homes in Canada. So we're really excited to have him. We also have one of our board members from Live Different, Heather Jingra, and her husband Rob. Heather and Rob own a commercial drywalling company. They specialize in schools mainly, but they also take on other large projects. And in 2009, their company sponsored a school that was built in Mexico with us, and they came down to oversee its construction. Heather's volunteered on countless trips with us, and their daughter has recently been through our Live Different Academy program. Next, we have our white Mexican from Manitoba. Random, I know. You can ask him all about it. JP and his wife Aaliyah have volunteered in leadership capacities with us in both Haiti and Dominican, and JP's Spanish skills come in very handy. So in a nutshell, you're going to meet a lot of us, and like I said, we are really looking forward to it. Please feel free to grab any of us at any time if you want to chat, you have questions, you need clarification, or you just have an extra drink that you want to give away. A little about the culture. Here's a little bit about the culture of the Dominicans and the Haitians and some notable differences from how we are programmed here in Canada or back there in Canada. One of the greatest strengths of our Hero Holiday program is the opportunity that's provided to experience everyday life in a culture that's different from our own. It's always great to experience different things and to expand our global perspective. It can happen in many different ways. For you, it could look like you could be working on your Spanish as you're chatting with people in the village. You could be coloring with children, sitting in a living room looking at pictures with mom, playing dominoes with some of the older men in the village, or just walking alongside a local in the area. Whatever you choose for your adventure, remember that they want to get to know you as much as you want to get to know them. You'll see many ways our culture differences from the Dominican and the Haitian way of life. And our goal is that we each remember that neither one is honestly better or worse. It's just that it's different. So for those of you who slept during geography class in school or are just too old to remember, Dominican Republic is located on the island of Hispaniola. So it shares the country with its neighbor Haiti. And even though these countries are side by side, they are as different as night and day, with the exception that they both love rice and beans and they're surrounded by ocean. You can tell each person by a few things. First of all, the language. Dominicans speak Spanish and Haitian people will often speak Creole. Dominicans are actual descendants of a Spanish Taino Indian mix, so they are more mulatto generally in color. And Haitians are West African descent, and so they are, their skin is much darker. In the community that we are going to be working in called Agua Negra, which they will also refer to as Nuevo Renacer, these races, both races share the community. And although there is some racial tension in some areas of the country, this area is actually quite respectful, and the neighbors really work together. As mentioned, your team will be building in Puerto Plata. So the area is it's on the north coast, and the name Agua Negra literally means in Spanish, black waters. Agua Negra was built on an old landfill site. And as the rain falls, the community can become a flood path as water levels rise and fill the streets with black, completely unsanitary water. So hence the name. Agua Negra lacks proper drainage and sewer systems. When the water runs, it just has no place to go except into the streets and into many of the low-lying homes. Many families can't afford to raise the level of their home or even simply keep up with simple things like roof repairs. So when this black water enters their home, they're forced to live in situations that we wouldn't even be able to consider. We would never consider keeping our lawn care equipment in those places, let alone our pets or ourselves. So can you imagine the helpless feeling of being a parent and knowing that these conditions are making your child sick and perhaps shortening their lives, and knowing that there is nothing that you can do about it? But there are some amazing people in Agua Negra, and they're fighting for better living conditions in their community. There's people like Sandra. Sandra's worked with organizations like Live Different to help us build many homes and schools and medical clinics, internet cafes, boys and girls clubs, and so much more for the people in her community. She is what we like to call the modern day Mother Teresa, and she has a heart of gold. She's actually a member of the community. In Agua Negra, many community members are stateless, meaning that due to lack of proper identification, they are not recognized by either the Dominican or the Haitian government, and they don't share the same rights as a true citizen. Others face the upward struggle of getting a proper education or qualified, affordable health care. It's virtually non-existent in their world. So one thing that the people of Dominican and Haiti understand, and that we personally are often challenged in, is the value of community. The first thing our volunteers always say is, wow, you can see how they take care of each other, that their neighbors are like family. And in poverty, the only way in survival many times happens is if you look out for your neighbors and knowing that you have each other's back. So in this trip, we're joining their community, and they are becoming our family. And I'm completely convinced that you are going to really sense it, and you're going to be changed after this whole experience. One of the obvious differences between our culture and theirs is that the foundation of how society functions is based on being extremely task and efficiency orientated in our world, while their foundation is really focused they really highly value relationships with each other. So while coming to build a home for these families, it's our goal to show them as much dignity and respect as possible. And a big part of that is the simple understanding of the cultural differences. We want to build them a house, yes. And yes, we definitely want to make sure it's all completed and that it's done well. However, for the receiving families, the time that you spend with them, talking and getting to know them as individuals, learning about them as friends, is actually incredibly important to them. It would almost be offensive if we simply came in, built their house, and never acknowledged, communicated with them, or spent any quality time with them. There may be opportunities for you to put your tools down and play dominoes, just sit and chat, maybe wash some laundry, whatever. Just simply be aware of this difference. Treat them with dignity and get to know them. You might find out that you are not so different after all. Okay, so what a work site is like. Each day you will be traveling in your teams on open back trucks to and from your work site. You will love the feeling of the wind cooling you off as we drive and get to see all the sights and the smells along the way. When you show up at your work site, your foreman will have various jobs available for your team. You, first off, only accept the job that